Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, on the blogger site, and on Patreon for extra support. And any kind of updates and such, usually I go ball on Twitter, especially when I do live streams, I always announce there. But again, as a reminder, I cannot commit to a proper schedule for live streaming, mainly because I have a freelancer work schedule, which it's when I am free time, I have free time. But I did manage. I missed Saturday's gaming news program. But I did manage to focus a little bit more on streaming. As you can see, the latest videos that I published are basically live streaming stuff there. Some of the live streams I have to divide it in two parts. Usually, when it's around 4 hour ish or something like that, I try to divide them so I like 2.5 hour chunks, depending on how it goes the stream. Again, I don't have like a proper thing how to proceed there. But yesterday's live stream, I did do almost 3 hours and something, and it's going to be in one episode. Yesterday I said I probably will divide it, but again, I just put it in one episode there. Yeah, and it will also be everything on Rumble. The same thing. That's why I try to avoid getting too much on one episode, mainly because of the file size. So I can upload it at least at 1080p quality on Rumble, because file size 15 gigabytes not that much. So I try to squeeze everything through, so I can properly do a publishing video there with at least 1080p quality there. But yeah, other than that, I will try to get around and publish also later today, Jedi Survivor episode, and tomorrow we'll get the Dead Space remake episode. And again, I will try to stream as much as I can. I'm now at least halfway through in terms of at least map exploration on the DLC. Just a quick reminder again. So far, I've been having some challenges here and there. Um, Even though my main nitpick on overall things regarding DLC is now I'm starting to encounter some stuttering issues. It's not. It's kind of a stuttering issue, but it's like here and there. I don't know how much I could be improved, given that I have the same settings that I had with the main game. I think it's a little bit on how they went about using a lot of the environmental effects. I think. I don't know if it is fog related, because in an area with a lot of fog that I fought a dragon, but I didn't have any issues with the sentry. It's more about the environment. When I transverse around the environments, I don't know what's happening in the background, probably loading assets or something like that. But yeah, from time to time I get a little bit of frame stuttering, but it's noticeable, but it's not egregious so far. Uh, for example, now I'm in the Carulian coast zone area, and it seems smoother than the near the jagged peaks there. But yeah, I think it can be improved, but it's my only nitpick so far. Again, difficulty wise, it is what I was expecting. I still have some schedule free levels that I can ramp up, but I'm avoiding doing that just to maintain kind of the same difficulty. Only if I see that I'm having a huge amount of troubles of going around, going through those challenges, then I might have to upgrade here and there. But so far, so good. Um, yeah, other than that, I've been having a blast with the game, especially with the lore stuff that is popping out here and there on NPC interactions and items description and the such. Things are getting a little bit more complicated, let's say, or at least given that we have like a base understanding on the lore, and some stuff is appearing that it's mixing up a little bit here and there, but I will think in the end we'll get a better proper idea of what the lore and the implication and themes that there is on Elden Ring itself there. But yeah, other than that, I'm having a blast. And again, when I stream, I always do a tweet regarding that. So keep your eyes on that if you're willing to accompany me on the journey there. And Elden Ring Theories, again, it's paused until I at least finish up the DLC one time, so I can think about if there is something that it's popping in my head that might explain, or that triggers a question that I think was not very well explained. So far, I will leave it on pause until at least I finish the DLC. But yeah, and then let's go to the news. Not much happening. For Monday morning, it's always a quiet day usually. But yeah, we got more stuff happening with the Battlemage GPU stuff from Intel. Similarly, we got more listings and product stuff there. It's a little bit still very early, but at least people that follow up this thing with especially the naming scheme, internal naming schemes that are following up. Similarly, we got more information on the chips. There seems to be a thing of discrete GPU series might feature the processors. I don't know if it is like something chiplet wise, like you just glue two of them to make it one. I don't know how this is going to work, but I think the speculation comes especially because of the fact, again, there is a lot of stuff here technical wise, but yeah, basically, supposedly the top tier from Alchemist architecture is 32 XE cores, and similarly the top tier of Battlemage also has 32 XE core, even though the remaining chips have increased in terms of the XE core. So I don't know, it's the equivalent of CUDA cores, let's say, in terms of performance wise, how they name their GPU stuff there. Again, because this lower end, so the middle and the lower end GPUs of Battlemage have more cores there from a single chip. Probably what again, that's my assumption of what people are telling here is probably we'll get I don't know. For some GPUs, we might get a G31 chip with a G10 to make it X amount of cores, assuming that all cores function at the same kind of frequencies and all that stuff. Or have like the top tier having two G41s or two G10s, I don't know, to make it up to 56 core X2 XE2 cores. Again, I don't know very well what to make of it, because again, this a lot of it is just speculation, early access program, like stuff that is being launched for support on the framework that they work there. Like a lot of it has to do with prototyping, so there is no official wording from Microsoft, oh my god, from Intel regarding this, what we're going to do, launch dates, if it's going to be like the end of this year, beginning of next year. But we've been seeing some stuff that allows us to speculate a little bit here and there. But yeah, hopefully, again, I hope this is successful, this Battlemage thing here, because again, competition. Instead of having two GPU manufacturers, if we have three, again, it's better. It's not ideal, but at least it's better than having only two companies fighting for the same marketplace. And again, the more competition that you have, usually the market tends to be better for the consumer, given that you have similar kind of products, and they when you have similar kind of products, at least in this case, in terms of performance, you'll tend to get a little bit more of a battle price there, usually. At least in the long-term trends, usually this is how it goes. But yeah, hopefully we'll have between this G21 and G31, hope they are successful, hope everything goes smoothly, so you can get at least an option, an alternative to the AMD and NVIDIA. But yeah, they are being pretty good with the Alchemist. I think they are learning a lot from this GPU stuff series, the Alchemist stuff, especially on the driver side, on the support side. Again, they don't have high-end GPUs at this moment in time, but I think what they have, they are working very well with. Since the launch of the Alchemist, we saw just in terms of driver support, a lot of increase in terms of performance, and from time to time, I think there is at least, if not from Gamers Nexus, I think all from Hardware Unbox, they did like a 1 year after a lot of the in terms of comparisons in terms of performance, and you see some comparable results in terms of how can they squeeze performance out of their own GPUs just through software support, in this case drivers. But yeah, hopefully they will get around and get a great product here, so they compete at least in a middle range to higher levels there. But yeah, we'll have to wait for more official information regarding Intel. Regarding Microsoft here, this again, I don't know why these guys, especially AIs, and they all look like weirdos. Some of them look like Bond villains. I don't know about these people, but this guy, Microsoft's AI chief, believes that content shared on in the internet is freeware, and it's completely alright for the company to copy it. That's basically the gist of this. This is coming from a CNBC interview on Aspen Ideas Festival. Again, they always like to do this kind of festival, putting out new ideas and thinking forward. And again, I think they are completely villains. So just by the way, they are completely removed from reality of day to day. Again, I don't think they ever had a creative idea in their own lifetimes. Having to put to work in some creative aspect, being a drawing, creating something using your creativity, and I think that reflects a lot on their philosophies there. And here we got basically this is quotes: with respect to content that is already on the open web, the social contract of that content since the 90s has been that it's fair use. Anyone can copy, recreate it, reproduce with it. That has been freeware, if you like. That has been the understanding. Again, twisting the fair use of content. Again, I don't know what again, when you, especially in a festival like this, you have to define itself what it's fair use in your point of view, even though there is again, at least from YouTube platforms where you can use fair use, or else everybody was. If this was true, let's say that way, I could upload everything that I encounter on the interwebs and play it on YouTube, make a video of it, and then supposedly should be able to reproduce it on the YouTube or any kind of platform, Rumble or something like that, without any kind of changing, or because it just says here reproduce is make a copy of it. So basically I can capture, let's say, a movie that has been out since the 90s and it's on the web, open web, so I just Google it, find it, copy it, and then put it on my channel as something that it's exempt of being copyrighted. Again, this is the idea that they have here, and they don't have a keen sense of sorry, intellectual property of IP, let's say, and they don't give a shit about creation of human creation. And then he continues, there's a separate category where a website or a publisher or a news organization has explicitly said, do not scrape or crawl me. That's weird, the way did he use that, for any other reason than indexing me so that other people can find that content. That's a gray area. And I think that's going to work its way through the courts. Again, and also these guys, these peoples that you always, you are always option in, and by default, and you have to pay attention if you want to option out these kind of things. Again, the default should be you're always out of that system. You have to option in that system if you really want to be part of this scraping and scrubbing the internet for trained AI. Again, what they're basically doing is taking advantage of stuff that is out there and train AIs with that because they are training the AI for free because they don't want to pay any kind of IP usage to train the machine learning and the AI engines that they have to taking in use and abuse of others people's IP, intellectual property. Um, yeah, this is not good. Again, I don't know, because they are a trillion dollar company. They think they can do what they want. And again, this is very medieval in the way they think about it. They are the chosen ones, and everybody has to bow to their excellent and brilliance. And they basically think that we must consider them like the bright minds of the humanity or something like that. I don't like this kind of people. This kind of people should not be in their positions that they are. But like in a lot of fields that I've been seeing, seems that a lot of people fail upwards. And yeah, this guy is a shithead and a scumbag by just not even thinking about the for example, I saw on Twitter a girl that does artwork. It's digital artwork, but the hours that she put out in doing a drawing, some people just pick up that drawing and it put it through a AI thing to do variations of that artwork, and it's completely a shit show that what the AI did there. And that person that went picked the original image went through AI remixer or something like that, and then they said they did their own work like this. Now they consider that their IP, intellectual property, because an image, if you create an image, it's your intellectual property because you put it from your head and you put it on, let's say, not even on paper. You put it was through your imagination and creation process, being put it on paper, put it on a program. The people just think it's free to use, but they forget that this can be used both ways. The same way that you can go to a site, you can go if the perceived thing that if you find something on the open web, which is not something that this guy even defines, it means that people can go to, I don't know, Pirate Bay, because you can find Pirate Bay on the open web. You don't need to go to the dark web, going to the deeps of the underbelly of the web, but you can go to the open web, Google Pirate Bay, and then you just download all the Microsoft software for free, and it's good enough. It's more than justifiable to use that. That's the excuse they're using, because they usually think these things only work one way. But yeah, I don't like this kind of philosophy. We are heading for sketchy territory. We already saw a lot of some, like, the bigger I don't know, bigger stars, I don't know, from the music industries, even some publishers from the music industry, movie industry, putting up lawsuits against OpenAI and such regarding copyright infringements, because they are basically scrubbing those IPs, and then they use it for free to train their AIs for free, which is I'm not even saying to stop using AI. It is there can be some concessions made. Is okay. You want to train your AI. You want to use my IP. Okay, you pay me, because I have my IP. I put work on it, and yeah, you should pay something. But then there it goes. How much of that IP will contribute to the AI training there? Then you have the conversation regarding, for example, royalties. Every time the AI uses your IP to produce something, you should have the rights of having a royalty over that. But of course, they just want all the money for themselves without paying nothing to anybody, and just make money out of nothing. But yeah, this is the state that we are. Again, these kind of people are evil people. Because they don't care about other people. They just think about themselves and company policies, let's say, or whatever that I don't know what creed they believe on, but it's to a certain extent it's anti-creative and anti-human, because they are pushing a machine instead of trying to use human creativity and ingenuity, and this also translates to a certain sense of being I say anti-human in the sense they just they for on the pursuit of profit, they just try to eliminate the human element, which is inherent when you have put a human element on any kind of creative process or anything that needs to have a product sold that involves human creation. You have to pay to that human. If you can remove that human element and create it for free, basically, you remove that aspect, so you have more profit. That's basically why they are going with this AI stuff, is because they know in a lot of stuff they can remove the human element out of it, because it's not only the salary that you have to pay for that human. You have to pay the taxes, you have to pay other kind of you have to have infrastructure, you have to have a physical space for that human to work with, you have to and with that infrastructure costs money to maintain, to have that human work for you, and if you can remove all those expenses and put it in your pocket, that's what they will always do. That's why we're seeing the AI thing going gangbusters, mainly because of that. It's a matter of profit. They can flourish their arguments all they want, but it's they in their pursuit of getting more money out of nothing, basically. But yeah, that's why you have to have certain kind of regulations regarding certain kinds of things to avoid this kind of people having this kind of stupid ideas, because they think everything that is on the open web, it's for free for them to use and make money out of it. Basically, it's what it is. Yeah, but if it's something that a single person that is not a corporation tries to do this, they are considered criminals, but because they are a corporation, it's all good and fair. But yeah, that's my main take out of this kind of philosophy that these guys have, and I really hope that they will burn in hell because they are evil people, but I just hope that again, there are some regulations and some laws to prevent this kind of shenanigans happening, and again, it's morally wrong. It's not illegal yet. Hopefully, you can turn this thing with some regulations and laws to make it illegal for this to be happening. And if they are caught doing that, they can all go to prison and rot there, for all I care. But yeah. In other news, Forza Horizon will be delisted by the end of the year. Again, this game is already been out for a few years, and it's one of those cases that it's been out for more than usually regarding racing games. Maybe because usually racing games, they are delisted mainly because of the licenses and everything they have to pay for car manufacturers, sometimes also regarding music, soundtrack licenses and as such. And supposedly the game will be delisted by the end of the year. That doesn't mean that you will not be able to play it. You can play it even with all the DLC and such. And I think they will, because they will keep also the online, oh my god, the servers online. Even after the game is delisted, it's usual stuff. And in the case of the Microsoft, then they can give themselves the luxury of maintaining, because I will assume it's using the same kind of resources, for example, for Forza Horizon 5. And again, Forza Horizon 5 will eventually be delisted, and this cycle will go on and on forever, because again, paying licenses for a game that it's not making enough money, and you have to expend money to just for the sake of the game being available to be on for people to buy it and play it. Again, this is relatively usual. I got a couple of racing games that I bought years ago that are basically delisted, but I still have it on my library. But yeah. And usually making a series out of this, I'm not sure how it works. I still have some Grid Autosport gameplay there. I don't have any issues with those videos, but yeah, it's a matter of paying the licenses usually to car manufacturers, because for you to use the branding of those cars, you have to pay the manufacturers some royalties and the such there. But yeah, just warning people that Forza Horizon 4 will be delisted by the end of the year. And last news is a little bit of continuation. The last interview that I covered from CD Projekt Red, this guy Paweł Sasko, the fact that they're opening a new studio out of nowhere on Boston, I think, for them to focus from scratch on the sequel for Cyberpunk. And this is a little bit of a continuation here. Again, I'm covering this because I think by the fact they're trying to justify the investment there because they want to be more embedded in the American culture. But the fact what they pull out in certain areas, we got the manhole covers on the streets there, like an example, in the curbs and as such, as a design feature. But then again, it brings back to the sense of trying to be too faithful and too realistic of the real world and transposing that to a virtual world. Again, this is not the game itself. It's not on 2024 American alternative reality, and even though I understand, for example, like a GTA, which supposedly it's like modern day happenings. For example, GTA 5 supposedly it's happening around the same time that it was when it was launched, like 2015 or something. I don't know when the game was launched, but supposedly it has the same kind of resemblance there, and it's tried to be realistic as possible, so you can understand the city design, the city planning, and how it goes to be as realistic as possible. But here we are talking a world that it's 50 years from now, which has a completely dystopian thing there, and I think you can use the IP ideas there and descriptions to pull up a little bit on your creativity and try to imagine that. I don't need you need to photograph manhole covers to put it as the same in 50 years in the future. They could have been updated 50 years from now. I don't know. It's one of those things. But then they continue here. Again, so some quotes here and there. Being from Europe is like interesting. I sometimes feel like I'm in the camera and some other reality and just observing and taking snapshots. I think he's referring to like the culture United States, something like that. I remember us traveling a couple of times to LA, San Francisco when working on Cyberpunk, and when after we sort of did the game, we ship it, and I did even more traveling now when I'm in US, and I see that we didn't push the envelope far enough in some places. Again, and one of the places that comes to his mind is homelessness crisis and so on. Like when I look at it, I'm like, we weren't like far enough in 77. We thought that we were like dystopian, but we just touched the surface. Again, now what I really think, if you're trying to be realistic, I think you need to approach the problem there in a realistic form also, because if you're going to try to translate everything that happens in real life to the virtual world, at least you have to be not concise, sorry, you have to be consistent with the way you do things. But it says there, you're like, we had one homeless person in a tent somewhere, yes, and in American, like, wow, that's like, nothing. Like you need a whole city, and the guy doesn't even speak English worse than me, and it speaks to the media. But yeah, so it's very different in some of these areas where even I played Cyberpunk, that you kind of see these things like that, and you're like, wait, someone's that's really bad, and you're like, no, that's barely scratching the surface of differences, these subtle differences. And he continued, exactly, we thought like, oh yeah, we are being edgy, with all that stuff, and I'm like, my walk to the train every day is more edgy sometimes. Again, I don't know, I think he doesn't know what edgy means, because when you see homeless homeless as a human condition is abhorrent. I don't think there should be any kind of homelessness anywhere, even the way it happens, but as a human condition, yeah. people don't know what it is. Most of them, they think people are just like to live in tents, and it's a way of life. Let's say that it's voluntary. I don't think anybody likes to sleep on the street. Um, but yeah, that's my view there. But yeah, but then I think here where he tries to go about here, and the fact that again, homelessness as an issue, not it's a problem. Um they went about it, at least in the article, it's referenced here as a trusted source per se, that California spent $17.5 billion trying to combat homelessness over 4 years, but in the same time frame, from 2018 to 2022, the straight homeless population actually grew. Half of Americans living outside the streets, federal data. Half of all Americans living outside on the streets, federal data shows, live in California. Okay, so half of the homeless population in the country there lives in California. Which again, there are some statistics that you can through out there regarding homeless population. Around 40%, I think, of homeless population in the United States, they have a working job, of 9 to 5 job, you know, but they are homeless because they have to live on the car because it doesn't pay enough for housing, which is kind of weird when you think about it. And again, I think the issue can be addressed in a gaming perspective, but I don't think you need to visit homelessness and try to justify something like that to put yourself in the game. I think you can use if you think about it a little bit on the issue. I think you can reach some conclusions there. But yeah, and the fact that basically the 17.5 billion trying to combat homelessness, I don't think it is what people think it is. A lot of NGOs, again, when you set up an NGO, you have what we call administrative costs there, and I bet you that at least half that money that was supposedly tried to use combat homelessness, that $70 billion, let's say, that the state paid to these NGOs to help and try to combat homelessness, at least half of them went to administrative costs, which by turns the CEOs or the heads of those NGOs that supposedly work with homelessness, they got all that lion's shares of that money. It's a scheme. So a scheme, not a scheme, it's a scam. Scamming out taxpayers' dollars to try and fight a problem that they basically the state itself basically created to a certain extent. Because the homeless problem is not just people living on the streets and trying to make something out of it. It's a real problem. Some countries don't have this issue. I've been here in the UAE for 5 years. I never saw any kind of homeless person. Mainly because, to a certain extent, the state, let's say the state here, has ways of getting housing to people so they don't live on the streets if it's needed be. Because when you work for a company here, even like lower wage companies like garbage man, construction workers, those low paying jobs, all the companies provide housing for their employers. Might not be you might not have I don't know, a villa to live on, or apartment, but you have a place. At least you have minimum a bunk bed with some AC in the middle of the desert to Dubai City. But you have the minimal human conditions to live, and you have food. You are provided food within your work, and there is also a lot of work done around to supplement that through NGOs also. But yeah, there is something that it doesn't exist in the so-called Western democracies. They just leave people to live on the street. There is no programs there because people don't take in consideration that a lot of homelessness, especially in America, has to do with a lot of mental health things. Since I think the 80ish or early 90s, I think it was Reagan time, when they closed off all the asylums and what the people call the nut houses, but the asylums and mental health institutions that were funded by the states, by the state itself. They closed everything. They put everybody out. That skyrocketed the homeless population at a time. Then you have also a lot of issues regarding continuing with the mental health situation, the drug problem that United States have, that can be remedied with a lot of stuff that the state can do without spending a lot of money, or at least spending less money that they are spending at this moment to try to resolve the issue, and with better prospects for the future of the homeless people that are affected by this problem. You got also, again, as I said, one of the statistics there that is recognized, but it's not often mentioned, is 40% or around that of the homeless people that, in instance, because we are talking about the Americana culture, 40% of them, they have at least a 9 to 5 job, but they don't. The job itself doesn't provide enough income for them to have not even like a room to rent, which is horrible if you imagine. So usually they live in cars or they even live on the street, but manage to work a job, at least a 9 to 5 job in something like that. Yeah, there is a lot of issues that you can, a lot of issues. There is a lot of solutions and relatively cheap solutions to offer some housing, help with some other means. That you can go around, and again, if you want to explore all of this in a game, go for it, but at least be honest about it. It's not just for the shock value to have like a homeless people on the game just to try to make it realistic in that sense. Approach the problem with honesty and how it is, and again, I will assume the homeless problem in other countries have different aspects to it. But yeah, in the case of the American country, there in America, there is very specific to certain conditions and certain things that are being done there that could be already been solved to a certain extent, if there was a will to do that. But yeah, if you want to approach, in this case, other issues with the American culture and American society, you can do that. You can explore that. But if you're pulling out the homeless people thing there, it's something that you don't see a lot in European cities, at least 10 years ago. I don't know how it is Europe at this point, but it's not looking good. At least that's the sense that I have. uh, you didn't see a lot of homeless people, even in big cities. You saw here and there, but it was not something overwhelming like in Los Angeles. I think the saying is, under every bridge in the Los Angeles there is a homeless encampment, which is, if you think about it, that describes a little bit the situation there. But yeah, that's my thoughts there. If you want to justify investing resources of opening a studio in America to try to be more realistic in terms of American society, when you tackle those problems, be honest and be honest on when you're trying to um, uh, uh, approach these kind of issues and problems on the society that you're trying to I don't know, that you're trying to be more faithful to it. Even though this is a fictional game, it's a post-dystopian future. It's funny because Cyberpunk, the Cyberpunk future results out of what they called corporate wars. And if you think about it, we're heading there. And I think the timeline is not that far fetched. If you think about it, corporate wars, the way things are in a certain sense, countries are basically corporations to a certain extent. You can almost define in certain ways how corporations behave. They behave as owners. In a kind of sense, it's like a medieval style way of going about it. They are knights and kings trying to fight for resources, and everybody that it's on the land that has those resources have to succumb and bend the knee to those corporations. But yeah, basically that's a 60,000 feet view angle of things that are happening now. But yeah, sorry about the rant. Let's go from some gaming deals. We got Firewatch 80% off again. It's Summer Game Fest on Steam, so we got basically all games on sale. But yeah, we got Firewatch. Seems a pretty good game. We got Prey again, stamp of approval. The 80% off on the base game. We got Salt and Sanctuary. It's one of those little games that is kind of 2D Metroidvania Souls-like kind of a thing there. 75% off. We got also in this case 75% off Resident Evil Revelations 2. Again, all the Resident Evil games are for sale. I will put the list of all Resident Evils there on the description. We got also King's Arthur Knight's Tale 70% off on the base game. Then we got some packs here and there. They're also discounted. We got the Callisto Protocol again. Now it's 70% off or 75% on the Digital Deluxe Edition. Again, as far as I know, there will be no more supporting on this game. As far as I know, so this is going to be the final version when you buy it. It doesn't seem that bad. But yeah, it got, from what I know, it's got some issues. I think in terms of performance, it's been basically patched, but it's more the issues for me. I think it's the story. I think ends in a cliffhanger, and basically we don't know when the next game will come. But I think the approach here is very interesting, what they try to do here. But yeah, one of these days probably I will get around this game. Then you got also the Nier Replicant. This is the version, whatever this is. It's basically a remaster of the first game, let's say. And then we got the sequel, which is Nier Automata, for 60% off. But yeah, this is one of those two games that I will enjoy, want really to play, mainly because of the story and the combat there also. But I think the story and the themes approach in these games are pretty good. But yeah. Other than that, this is what I got for you today. And I'm just going to wrap up with a plug on my Patreon for extra support. Again, the extra support is for me at this moment in time get a better storage solution for me to be able to get backups of the stuff that I do for my clients. And of course, extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.